All right, so today let's dive into something I think a lot of us think about.
Oh, okay.
It's upping our English game.
Yeah.
We're going to forget those like dusty textbooks though.
Yeah.
We're going deep on this YouTube video I found
Cool.
with really practical tips from,
Yeah.
people who've actually like walked the walk.
Right. Yeah.
So whether you're someone who's prepping for a big presentation
Sure.
or you finally want to like crack open that English novel you've been putting off,
Mm.
or just casually flex some impressive vocab on your friends.
Right.
This deep dive is for you.
I think this is a really good topic because it's something that
Yeah,
so many people, I think, around the world are interested in.
it's true.
It really speaks to how interconnected we all are.
It really does. And
Huh.
one of the things this video like nails right away
Yeah.
is how crucial vocabulary is.
Uh-huh.
They call it like the bedrock, the building blocks of
Mhm.
language. And you know what? They're not wrong.
Not at all.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's like trying to bake a cake without having, flour or sugar.
Right.
You need the right ingredients to communicate clearly and effectively.
Okay.
And mastering vocabulary gives you those tools.
Okay, so vocabulary is key. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we actually learn it effectively?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Right.
Right.
Because like you can,
You can know it's
Yeah,
important,
yeah.
but then what?
exactly.
Mm.
And this video suggests going old school.
Okay.
Break out those note cards,
Oh, wow.
like index cards.
Yeah. Just writing new words down can be surprisingly powerful.
Well, and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
It's because if you just hear a word, maybe you have like a 20% chance of remembering it.
Oh, wow.
But when you write it down, you're engaging more of your senses.
Interesting.
And that alone boosts your chance of remembering it.
Makes sense. It's like the difference between just seeing a recipe and actually like
Yes,
getting your hands dirty in the kitchen.
exactly.
Mm.
And speaking of getting hands-on,
Okay. The video also emphasizes regular review.
okay,
They even have this catchy phrase, the more you look back, the faster you go forward.
I like that.
Yeah?
Catchy.
So essentially, you're tapping into something called spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. Okay, tell me more about this because it sounds like we're about to unlock some next-level learning here.
It's really cool, actually.
Okay.
Our brains are hardwired to forget.
Right.
But we can kind of trick them
Huh.
into thinking something is important if we revisit information at spaced intervals.
So, like, how does that work?
So by reviewing these new words regularly, you're basically hacking your brain
Okay.
to make them stick long term.
Brain hacking for better English.
Yeah.
That's way more exciting than just memorizing word lists.
Right.
Now, another strategy they highlighted is reading.
Okay.
And not just like skimming, but truly absorbing vocabulary in context.
Right.
They use the examples of glittering versus shimmering
Okay.
and showing how much richer those words became when you understood the context.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our brains thrive on connections.
Okay.
If you learn a word just like in isolation by itself,
Right.
it's easy to forget. But if you encounter it in a gripping novel or a thought-provoking article,
Yeah.
suddenly it's tied to an emotion or an image or the whole experience.
Totally.
And that's what makes it memorable.
It's like the difference between just knowing a word's definition and truly understanding its nuances. It
Exactly.
reminds me of that time I learned the word serendipitous,
Okay.
but I totally like butchered the pronunciation.
Oh, no.
I know. It was bad.
In front of other people.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I saw it used in a novel, like surrounded by this whole description of a
Yeah.
chance encounter, that it like really clicked for me.
That's a perfect example of context at work. And it also, I think, highlights why diversifying what you read
Yes.
is really crucial.
Right. It's not just about reading like
Yeah.
the classics,
Right.
but also like blogs and articles and even social media posts. I feel like all those different like voices and writing styles
Yeah,
add something really unique to your
Mhm.
vocabulary toolbox.
exactly.
Yeah.
The wider you kind of cast that net,
Right.
the more you're going to internalize
Yeah.
those subtle shades of meaning, those colloquialisms,
Right.
even technical terms that are specific to certain fields.
It's like leveling up your linguistic palette.
I like that.
Okay, so we've nailed down vocabulary,
Okay.
but there's another big player in this whole like English learning game.
Yes.
And that's grammar.
Grammar.
Yes. And this is where the video got really interesting
Okay.
because they kind of spark a debate
Uh-huh.
about whether grammar is really all that important
Okay.
for spoken English.
Interesting.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's something that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to your goals and the context.
Okay.
Because the video presented both sides of it.
Okay.
Some people were saying, well, in casual conversations, perfect grammar isn't really essential.
Yeah.
While other people were saying, like, well, no, but clear communication relies on a solid grammatical foundation.
Right.
Regardless of the setting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm probably way more relaxed about my grammar when I'm
Sure.
just chatting with friends. But if I'm giving a presentation
Right.
at work or writing a professional email,
Yes.
I definitely want my grammar to be on point.
Exactly. And I think that's actually a key takeaway here,
Okay.
is that context is king.
Okay.
So if your goal is like casual fluency,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't need to be so worried about like super strict grammatical accuracy.
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
when you think about professional settings, academic writing,
Right.
any scenario where clarity is really important,
Yeah.
then a strong command of grammar is really a game changer.
So true. It's about like adapting your language to the
To
situation.
agree.
You know, it's funny because I used to think grammar was just about following like
Yeah.
this long list
Yeah.
of like arbitrary rules.
Mm-hmm.
But this video kind of made me see it differently.
Yeah. How so?
Well, they even argued that good grammar can make you more persuasive,
Oh, interesting.
especially in like a professional setting.
Well, and there's actually,
Really?
yeah, there's actually research to back that up.
Oh, wow.
Studies have shown that strong grammar is often associated with attention to detail,
Okay.
clear thinking, and even professionalism,
Interesting.
which are obviously qualities that employers look for.
That's a really good point because it's like, even if you have all the right vocabulary,
Right.
like if your sentences are all over the place, it's going to be hard to...
Yes. It's hard to follow,
Yeah.
hard to take seriously.
Exactly.
And especially today,
Yeah.
when so much communication happens in writing,
Right.
emails, applications, online profiles,
What's huge?
good grammar is no longer just a nice to have.
Right.
It's essential. It's a must have.
It's like you could have the most amazing ideas,
Right.
but if you can't express them clearly,
Yes.
correctly in writing,
It gets lost. It's lost.
yeah,
It's true.
people can't understand you.
Right. So even if you're mainly focused on like spoken English,
Yeah.
don't underestimate the power of having that strong grammatical foundation.
It's true because it can boost your credibility and influence
That's huge.
in ways that you might not even expect.
That is a really valuable insight. So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Oh, yeah.
From the importance of vocabulary and context
Yeah.
to the surprising benefits of good grammar.
Right.
If someone is feeling inspired right now to like
Yeah.
level up their English skills,
I love it.
what would you say is like the most effective first step?
That is a great question.
Right. Because it's like, where do you even begin?
Right. And honestly, all of the things we've talked about work
Mhm.
together. They work together synergistically.
Right.
But if I had to pick just one,
Okay.
I'd say start with reading.
Reading.
Reading. Yeah.
Okay.
But not just passively letting the words like wash over you.
Okay.
Actively read it with a purpose. So like, how do you do that?
Mhm.
How do you read with a purpose?
Well, that's where these other tips we talked about come in.
Okay.
So jot down unfamiliar words,
Okay.
look them up,
Yeah.
and then here's the kicker. Try to use them yourself.
So it's not even enough to like recognize a word. You've got to actually put it into practice.
Exactly. Think of it like learning a new dance move.
Okay.
You can watch videos all day long, but until you get out on the dance floor and like try it yourself,
Yeah.
it's not truly yours, you
Yeah.
know?
You haven't learned it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Language is really similar.
Okay.
The more you use these new words in your own speaking and writing,
Yeah.
the more natural they become.
That is a great analogy. And it makes me think of like another point that the video made,
Yeah.
which is that learning English isn't just about memorizing rules
Right.
and definitions.
It's so much more than that.
It's about expanding your horizons, like
Yeah.
connecting with new cultures and ideas.
Yes, absolutely. And remember how the video mentioned Albert Einstein? He believed that readers had more vivid imaginations.
Wow.
It's really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
What if expanding your English vocabulary isn't just about language acquisition?
Right.
What if it's about unlocking new ways of thinking, seeing the world through a wider lens, connecting with this global community of speakers and thinkers?
That is pretty profound when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like learning a new language isn't just about adding words to your vocabulary. It's about
Yeah.
adding
Totally.
depth and richness to like your whole life.
Exactly. It's a journey of continuous discovery.
I like that.
And even small steps can lead to some pretty amazing places.
That's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
So to all of our listeners out there,
Yes.
whether you are just starting your English learning adventure or you're like a seasoned pro
Right.
looking to level up even more,
Yeah.
remember, read widely, engage actively,
Yes.
embrace the journey.
No, I said.
Who knows what amazing discoveries await?
Happy learning.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.